Let me be honest with you for a second. Right now, somewhere out there, someone just like you woke up this morning, looked at their bank account, felt that familiar knot tighten in their stomach, and thought, there has to be another way. And if that sounds familiar, if that feeling of being trapped on a financial treadmill that never stops spinning feels like your everyday reality, then what you're about to hear might genuinely change the direction of your life. Because here is what nobody talks about. The traditional path, work hard, get paid, spend it, repeat, was never designed to make you free. It was designed to keep you busy. And busy people do not ask questions. Busy people do not build wealth. Busy people just survive until Friday and dread Monday. But passive income changes that equation completely. Now, before we go any further, here is something you need to understand. Most people who stumble across the concept of passive income either dismiss it as too complicated, too risky, or something only rich people can do. And that thinking right there is exactly what keeps the gap between financial struggle and financial freedom so wide for so many people. We are going to dismantle every single one of those myths today, step by step, in plain language that anyone can understand and actually use. Let us start where it actually hurts. Picture this. It is a Tuesday evening. You have just finished a 10-hour day. Your feet are tired, your mind is exhausted, and somewhere between answering the last email and commuting home, you missed another moment that you cannot get back. Maybe it was your kid asking you to play. Maybe it was a dinner you could not make. Maybe it was just sitting in silence without your brain screaming about bills. And you tell yourself, next month will be different. Next year will be better. But deep down, you already know the terrifying truth. Nothing changes unless something changes. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is information. It is your gut telling you that trading every single hour of your life for money is not a strategy. It is a sentence. And the worst part is, the moment you stop working, the money stops too. That is not financial security. That is financial fragility wrapped in the illusion of stability. And here is where passive income enters the story. Passive income is simply money that keeps coming in even when you are not actively working for it. That is it. That is the whole concept. Money working for you instead of you always working for money. It sounds simple because it is simple. The execution requires effort up front, but the reward is something most people never experience: financial breathing room. Now here is where I want to give you some real foundational value before anything else. There are essentially three categories of passive income that everyday people with no special background can realistically build. The first is asset-based income. This is when you own something that generates returns, things like dividend-paying stocks, index funds, or real estate investments. The second is content and digital income. This is when you create something once, a digital product, an online resource, a system, and it generates revenue repeatedly without you recreating it every single time. The third is systems-based income. This is when you build a process or a structure that runs with minimal ongoing input from you, often leveraging platforms and automation that already exist. You do not need to master all three at once. You do not even need to start with all three. You just need to start with one. Because here is what the data consistently shows across thousands of financially independent individuals. The first stream of passive income is always the hardest to build. The second becomes noticeably easier. By the third, people wonder why they waited so long. And speaking of waiting, that is something we need to address right now. Here's a number that should stop you mid-scroll. People who begin building passive income systems even 5 years earlier than their peers accumulate on average 3 to 4 times more financial freedom by their mid-40s. Not because they are smarter, not because they had more money to start, simply because of time and consistency working together. Every month you delay is not a neutral decision. It is a decision that costs you compounding opportunity, which is exactly why there is a program linked down below in the video description. If you have been watching this and feeling that internal pull, that sense that you already know you need to do something different, I want you to pay attention to this. Most people will watch this video, feel inspired for 48 hours, and then slide back into the same patterns because inspiration without a structured path evaporates. This program exists to give you that path. But here is the thing, not everyone watching this is actually ready to use it. If you are comfortable with where you are financially, if you do not feel urgency around building different income streams, this probably is not for you. But if something in your chest just tightened when I said that, keep that feeling. We will come back to it. Now let us get back into the substance of how passive income actually works in real life. Think about what money essentially is at its core. Money is stored time. When you trade your hours for a paycheck, you are converting your time into currency. The problem is that most people only ever learn to earn money in a linear way. 1 hour equals 1 payment. But wealthy individuals, the ones who achieve genuine financial independence, they learn to earn money exponentially. One system, one asset, one creation, many payments over time. Here is a vivid way to picture it. Imagine two people. One person goes to the market every single day to sell their goods. They wake up early, pack everything, travel there, spend the whole day, and bring home that day's earnings. If they miss a day, they earn nothing. The second person sets up an automated stall with a trusted system that operates even when they sleep. They still check in, still optimize, still put in real effort to set it up, but once it is running, the market works for them around the clock. Which life would you rather be living? That second person is not luckier, they are not more talented. They just made a different choice about how to structure their income. Now let us talk about the most common reason people never make this shift, and it is not what you think. It is not lack of money. Studies show that the majority of people who successfully build passive income streams started with very little capital. Many started with almost nothing except time and the willingness to learn. It is not lack of intelligence either. The mechanisms behind passive income are not complicated. Consistent returns, compounding growth, leveraged systems, these are learnable skills, not inherited gifts. The real reason most people never start is far more psychological. It is the fear that they are not the type of person who does this kind of thing. That this works for other people but somehow not for them. And that belief, quiet and stubborn as it is, costs people decades of financial potential. Here is what you need to hear directly. That belief is a lie. It is a story told to you by your circumstances, not by your actual capability. The people who built sustainable passive income are not a different species. They are people who decided to stop waiting for permission. Let us talk about what financial independence actually feels like, not in abstract terms, but in the texture of everyday life. Imagine waking up on a Wednesday morning and realizing that yesterday, while you slept, money moved into your account. Not from working, not from hustling, just from systems you built and assets you own. Imagine checking your phone not with dread but with curiosity, because the numbers often surprise you in the right direction. Imagine having a real conversation with someone you love without half your brain running calculations about whether you can afford the next thing on the list. That is not a fantasy reserved for people on magazine covers. That is the documented, real experience of people who committed to building passive income deliberately and consistently over time. Now here is where we need to have an honest conversation about effort. Because nothing worth building is effortless at the beginning. Passive income is not zero work. Let that land. It is front-loaded work that transforms into ongoing, minimally maintained income over time. People who go in expecting a shortcut usually get disappointed and quit. People who go in understanding that they are planting seeds that will grow into a financial forest, those people change their lives. The question is never whether it requires effort. The question is whether that effort is worth it. And when the alternative is spending the next 30 years in the same cycle you are trying to escape, the math becomes very clear. Here is something powerful to sit with. Every single passive income source that exists today was once just an idea or a decision. Every dividend check someone receives today started as a decision to invest. Every digital product generating revenue while someone sleeps was created in blocks of focused time. Every system producing cash flow was built by someone who decided that the temporary discomfort of building was worth the permanent reward of freedom. You are not watching this by accident. People who are genuinely content with their financial situation do not end up watching videos about passive income and financial independence. Something brought you here, and that something matters. Here is what separates the people who look back 5 years from now feeling transformed from those who look back feeling stuck in the exact same place. The ones who transformed took one specific, decisive action when the information was fresh and the motivation was real. They did not wait until conditions were perfect. They did not wait until they knew everything. They moved while the feeling was alive. That is the only real difference. So here is your moment. The program linked in the video description below is the structured path between where you are right now and where you actually want to be. It takes everything we have discussed today and gives it direction, sequence, and a real framework built around people who started exactly where you are. Most people will scroll past it. Most people will tell themselves they will come back to it later. Most people will still be saying that 2 years from now. But you are not most people. You already know that. Otherwise, you would not have watched this far. The cost of doing nothing is no longer invisible. You have seen it today in your own life and in the lives of millions of people who waited too long. The cost of doing something, of taking one deliberate step toward passive income and financial independence, is the only cost worth paying. The link is below. The choice is yours. And unlike time, this particular window does not stay open forever.